This is how you look like climbing MMR right now. And this is how it could look like if you were playing Lina. We are currently playing a patch with long games, and Lina's power curve looks something like this. So it almost cannot lose a single lane, and it's probably one of the strongest late game heroes in the game at the same time. If you're feeling lost right now and haven't played Lina recently, this is why this hero is bullshit at the moment. This hero past level 20 is actually broken. It can burst any hero, it doesn't really matter what items he has. You might think that this hard blade mail meta would not be a good fit for a hero like Lina that is limited by numbers, but her numbers are so off the charts that it doesn't matter.
Adios, payasos.
Let's take a look here. This is a 3k Spectre, by the way. Watch what happens with this build that is 100% achievable in any pub. This hero farms really fast. What about a tanky Chaos Knight then? 4k HP? Not a problem for a lane at this stage. Alright boy, but there's no way in the late game this hero can really do anything, right? How can he deal with the often 6k HP tanky heroes of this patch? And what people forget is that once you have your shard and a really good neutral item, this hero is doing like 1500 damage with one E-Blade LSA. That's not counting all of your other spells, that's not counting all of your teammates' damage. This hero is bonkers. With all of that in mind, here are my X secret tips on how to master Lina. And the first one is very simple. Mana efficiency. Lina is a farming mid, and with every mana heavy hero, efficiency is going to be everything. Not only so that you farm fast, but so that you can farm and be resource ready to fight. For efficiency, there are three main things you need to be thinking about. The first one is hit as many creeps as you can with the same spell, either by aligning them for multiple camps or by stacking them, which, especially on the Radiant side, is quite easy to do. Then you're gonna further increase your mana by disassembling your Arcane Boots when you use Bottle and when you use Clarities. This might be like a pain in the ass, but it can definitely stretch your mana and allow you to get further kills. Finally, keep your Fury Soul up. Think about how you can keep it 24/7. Moving through the jungle, going back to the lane, prepping for a fight. Basically, until you have eggs, you don't have an easy way to proc all of them at once before starting an engagement. And when you're going to fight, having 7 charges up is imperative, especially pulse shards, since you'll be dealing 630 less damage for one volley of spells if you don't have it up when you try to burst someone. Look at the difference here. But it's also important for efficiency around the map, whether it's getting runes faster, farming faster, ganking faster, so that you hit your timings just slightly better every game. Since we just mentioned Fiery Soul, there are two things that people often forget about it. The first one is that it's kind of a map hack ability. Since it procs when you hit something, anything, in hectic fights with no vision, it allows you to pinpoint people you wouldn't have vision of. For instance, sometimes you try to stun someone blindly and you don't really want to jump in unless you know you hit the stun, and you can 100% know whether you hit it and can follow up, like in this fight right here. Another aspect of this spell most people don't know about is that when you buy back, you keep all of the charges you had as if you were still alive. So if you're deciding to buy back, sometimes it's better to jump the gun, because if you have travels, you can pretty much start the fight at full power. This is especially important if for some reason your eggs is on cooldown. There's absolutely no item that gives you the benefits of the shard. If you consider you have your 7 souls running, which if you follow the last tip, you should pretty much always have anyways, your spells now have around a 50% damage amp, and your ulti 25%. There's no item in the game that can give you that sort of amp for 1500 gold, without occupying a slot, mind you. This gives you farming speed, it gives you kill potential. We already talked about the extra 630 damage, potentially more if you get the luxury of ulting before casting your other spells. As with most of the broken heroes nowadays, a big reason Lina is so good is the shard, and people think that Lina is mediocre because they don't buy it soon enough to fully understand how fast this hero farms. By the way, if you have either a Fairy's Trinket or a Vambrace, you can pretty much one-shot creep waves with the exception of the shiny creep forever, because eventually you're also gonna get the damage amp talent at 20, which just makes farming with Lina a delight. People think of Flame Cloak as mostly a let's kill someone button, which is true, but there's way more to this spell. We touched in the beginning about how Lina doesn't seem to care that much against the Blade Mail hard meta, and one of the reasons that is Flame Cloak giving you magic resistance. When you have it on, your magic resistance at this stage of the game is about 60%, which means you don't really care about Blade Mail reflecting your damage back to you that much. The defensive aspects don't end here. When you get jumped, popping this spell not only gives you a big defensive boost, but the move speed as well as the terrain walking can be the difference between life and death. Speaking of terrain walking, yeah, it's great to close the gap and join fights, but it's also an amazing way to fight just at the edge of cliffs and edges of the map so that you're hard to catch. At the end of the day, Lina is a glass cannon and you need to fight with finesse if you want the MMR gains. One very important part about playing Lina is understanding TP locations. This hero has garbage lockdown. LSA is one of the hardest spells to land, whilst also being one of the easiest to dodge. Casting spells from fog is imperative for this hero to function at its highest level, which is why Flame Cloak is good in the first place. That said, a lot of kills you will get with this hero are about TPing in unexpected locations and bursting people unaware, so here's a couple of examples of that being put to use. For the Radiant side safe lane, be wary of this very common ward in the big jungle. TPs on this side are often dangerous and it's much better to go for TPs on the other side unless you are 100% sure that the cliff is not warded. In the mid lane, the left side is usually preferable, but there is this one set of trees that protects you from most wards as long as you click on the perfect spot. For the top side, remember that you're going against two cliffs, which basically makes the entire left side not really viable for TPs unless you know it's not warded. On the right side, there's two places that won't be detected by the right side cliff, so make sure to play around those three areas. For the offlane tier 2 towers, the right cliff has multiple ward possibilities, which makes the left side the safest one. But remember that a ward on the left side is uncommon but not unheard of, meaning TPs here are usually tough in the first place. But this is usually the best place you're gonna have. For the mid lane, the left side is pretty much a no-no, and this one location on the right side is by far the safest one since even a ward on the right side ramp isn't a problem for you. For the tier 2 bottom, remember that the big jungle side is very dangerous. There's lane wards and multiple cliff wards that can screw you over. The other side is surely safer, but lane wards here are not unheard of, so always look for the areas that are dancing trees so that your TP is not going to be spotted. For the dire side, the safe lane is heaven. Multiple spots to TP and almost no common or easy wards to spot you. The sky's the limit. In the mid lane, you have options on both sides, although they are relatively limited. And for the offlane, the cliff ward, although not common, should be expected, which usually makes the left side TP just a little bit safer. If we are talking tier 2 towers, the safe lane one has a cliff ward nearby, but as long as you use the trees that are farther away from it, no vision should be there. There's also the other ward that is gaining popularity in pubs, so make sure you adapt and always use this spot right here. For the mid lane, the cliff ward is very common, so don't even think about using the left side. The right side does have two spots that should be safe though. And for the offlane tier 2 tower, this is a nightmare. The left side is pretty much a no-go, and the right side has this one spot, but depending on the location of the ward or the hero that is given vision, even this one could be problematic, so thread wisely. Hey guys, thank you for watching. If you want to join the Patreon Bonanza, enjoy the last weeks of promotion that we have going on for the prices, as well as the keyboard giveaway that will be happening once we reach 150k subs on the main channel. Thank you so much for the support, and sorry for the delay with this upload as well.